Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Welcome to one and all. And this is Call to Guidance with your host, Yunus Kawanga, the show that deals with everything and anything that has to do with dawah and community development. So tonight, alhamdulillah, we have a good line up. Later on from 8:30 until 9, we'll be viewing the upcoming Revert picnic, which is taking place this weekend, inshallah, on the 11th. And with me on that one will be Advocate Ali Mukwaina, who will be speaking about the whole program and how people can actually get hold of them if they are interested, inshallah. And to start off, we're starting off on a good note with Uncle Ismat Mohammed, who is the coordinator for the Muslim Integrated Development Plan, as they are having a Muslim community integrated development plan having their seventh council meeting with projects and challenges and solutions to discuss those 2 points. And before we go further, I just welcome Uncle Ismat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the show.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته and Jazakallah khairan for having me on the show.
Barakallah Fik, it's a pleasure to actually have you on the show. Every time when you speak about community development, we always look at the work which has been done, but only seldom do we actually look into the people that put in the work in making it viable and making it a success. And we're really happy to have you with us tonight. Now, before we go further about the meeting itself, I wanted us to start from the top. What is the MIDP? Where did it stem from? And what is the main cause for its initiation, inshallah?
The Muslim Integrated Development Plan was a concept we developed a few years ago. But I would say, in my own experience with many years, it was my intention for many years to establish the Muslim Integrated Development Plan. And وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. And Allah is the best of planners, and He knows when He wants you to plan something and something to happen.
Hmm.
When we established the Humanitarian Development Alliance, the primary focus in the program was the Muslim Integrated Development Plan. Now, Moulana Saab, people do some great work in our community, not in South Africa, but throughout the world. But
Right.
do those legacies continue after the people pass away? Do those legacies continue? So I'm going to give you an example here in Durban. There is in a rural area called Molweni. We call the area Upper Molweni, and there's a masjid there, and in Lower Molweni as well. There were masjids established by those a Moulana and a brother in Jamaat. Uh, they established two masjids, and with some fellow Muslims. And what has happened is those masjids did not continue to exist. They were struggling. One actually like partly closed and wasn't existing, cobwebs, and the other one continued to struggle and not much activities and many challenges and problems. So the MIDP is where we go and do research and we find out what are the challenges for now within Durban, what are the challenges Muslim community workers in the Muslim organization, in the Muslim Ummah face, and communities face, the rest of humanity. And we identify an area and then we go in and we do research. And we find that, for example, these masjids need assistance to survive or to become abad. And the idea here is to bring it back to the community and say, here is a masjid, it's deserted or it's struggling, let's help them. So the Muslim Integrated Development Plan is to look at how we can continue the positive legacy of the Muslim Ummah in continuing the good work in serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and serving humanity. Critical. Okay. So also, I mean, I look gray, but I'm still very young, alhamdulillah. But I mean, many older people, as they retire or whatever, or as even if you're young or old, we pass away and we move on. Do we hand over these projects, the information, what we have done in a certain area of South Africa? Do we have an integrated development plan of what is our role as Muslim Ummah in a certain area? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create us in why were we born in South Africa or in Durban or in Overport or in Umlazi or in Chatsworth? What is our duty and responsibility as a Muslim Ummah? As a Muslim, because we're going to be accountable on the day of Qiyamah. So this is what the Muslim Integrated Development Plan is, inshallah, over a period of time to map out what we are doing in every area in Durban, to use this as a model for the rest of South Africa, and one day, inshallah, to take it to out South Africa. And how can we strengthen Islamic work and the collaboration between the Muslim Ummah? Avoid duplication, wastage, look at issues on the ground when somebody has challenges or a Muslim community. I mean, we finished the previous meetings was on Muslim burials where there are issues where fellow Muslims who pass away who have accepted Islam because their families are not Muslim, in the end they end up being buried as non-Muslim. And the issue is with their families. It's not with the burial societies. They're doing fantastic work. It's with the the non-Muslim families in misunderstanding what is Islam, what is Muslim burials. So we need to get down and we need to strategize around that issue. So this is critical. Now, the one that we have identified a meeting, the next meeting, which is next Saturday on the sorry, 17th of August on Saturday, would be welfare challenges with solutions. And that's what we need to look at. How can we strengthen welfare work and how can we strengthen collaboration between Muslims?
Subhanallah. Those are very valid points, Uncle Ismat, because recently we've been actually looking into the locations, and especially when it comes to the Muslim society in the locations as per se, that there has seemed to be a stagnation of the Ummah in those parts, whereby it's either the only last or the only remaining generation of Muslims might have been those who came into South Africa from countries like Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe, etc., and others are seeming to, flow off or leave the dean for certain issues. And I believe that welfare is one of the main ones because these are impoverished backgrounds, people from backgrounds whereby they have nothing and they have to try and find means. And the second of all also is that the situation of in terms of maintenance of the masajids, the musallas also becomes one of a great impact. And I saw in some masjid a while ago, we're traveling down south of Joburg, was completely unattended. Subhanallah, even during Salah time, there was nothing there. So I believe these are actually the right questions that need to be raised. And also importantly, is that when we focus on problems, we need solutions. And you did mention that we'll be looking at the solutions rather for all these challenges. Now, in terms of the meeting itself, you did mention that it's going to be on the 17th of August, inshallah, and that will be at the Al Ansar Hall in Overport. And time will be between 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. So, for those who are not there physically, is there going to be an online platform where they can actually take part or view the meeting from?
Unfortunately, we have tried that before, but in the last few meetings, but it wasn't successful. So we decided to abandon that, but there will be a minutes of the meeting that will be circulated. Like in the burial societies one, we're just holding on because the next topic after welfare will be on da'wah and are we manufacturing people to become Muslim? And we
Mm,
need to deal with the issues you are speaking about and have we established an ummah in every area. But the critical issue is that with these challenges, we need to find the solutions most important. That is why
mm,
the shura. So this shura is very important because it gives community workers, what some people may term, some of them may be considered ulama, imams, madrasa teachers, da'is, community workers like ordinary community workers, like myself, uh, ordinary community workers, we will call ourselves, like ourselves, and then we'll bring the donor community, the volunteers together, and we say, okay, here is a challenge. For example, we're going to give the Muslim welfare organizations, the various Muslims who are doing welfare, an opportunity to present themselves. And what we also want them to say, what services do you provide? What is welfare? What welfare services do you provide? What is your criteria in your policy? Who is your target group? For example, some of the questions already that came up in the previous meeting when we were planning this was the question of do you assist foreigners. The
mm,
second issue, are we assisting more non-Muslims than Muslims or more Muslims than non-Muslims?
mm,
Okay, and these are the type of questions that will come up. But by us speaking about this, we are able to deal with the issue. But the information is critical. Like when we had with the bursary organizations, many of the community workers on the ground were surprised to hear the challenges they face by students themselves. They had the perception that the problem lies with the organization. But
mm,
after that meeting, they were equipped with enough knowledge to understand that if people do not meet that criteria, they do not follow the policy of the application, similar to welfare, then obviously they will be rejected. So by understanding what's the criteria established by organization, you know who can fit in. But that comes in now. If we have a masjid in an area, so I'm going to give you an example. So we have an area in Umlazi, W section in masjid. Okay.
mm,
So people come from there and they need welfare assistance. Who should be referring them? The imam, the committee should be referring them. Because the imam in the committee knows who goes to the masjid, who practices Islam. Are their children practicing Islam? They have a better insight. The organizations are either based in the city or in one of the suburbs in a central area. They are not focused in the area. So now an integrated development means that there needs to be an integrated household development plan that needs to be established between the community workers on the ground and between the welfare organizations.
mm,
Because you can't only look at the aspect of this hampers, rent, that's it. You got to look at spiritual development, you look at the skills development, you got to look at feedback of what's happening with the beneficiary once you started to assist them. Okay,
mm,
that is all critical. So, how do we build that partnership between the various Muslim organizations, but even the community workers on the ground? And how can we establish that volunteers, donors? Because the critical issue we got to ask is who is supposed to make the decision of what is the best for the ummah? The donor because he believes he owns the money or she owns the money, the head of the organization, the trustees or management, the staff, or is it the beneficiary? Or is it the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by sitting together and by planning together? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, make shura with on issues that and with the people who are affected by that issue. That is critical. So we bring the various stakeholders together and we start creating partnerships. Now, many community workers who came previously to Huda SA and the MIDP said, you know what, we're not getting help and we've been turned away and our people and we don't want to send to any Muslim organization. And we said, no, no, you got a misconception. Let's hear all the sides of the story. Let's bring all of you to a platform, in a common platform, and let's start working together. So, what happened in the bursary program, for example, there were a few students that were struggling, and then we linked them up to the organizations. The organizations gave feedback, and alhamdulillah, we can move forward. This is critical for the ummah to
mm,
engage on this issue. Are we monitoring and evaluating all these programs? And how effective are we? Like you spoke about initially, the issue of people who have accepted Islam are mainly maybe foreigners or whatever. Have we monitored and evaluated da'wah by every Muslim? Have we monitored and evaluated the welfare system? For example, what is more important, welfare or empowerment? Or does it go hand in hand? What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? And that is critical that everybody needs to understand. We need to come to a common platform and we need to start engaging in a positive way. And that's what the Muslim Integrated Development Plan is. And not this talk shop where we then plan it out and then we have assessments and monitoring and evaluation. And we start
mm,
engaging as an ummah.
mm,
Because, like you say, if there is a masjid that nothing is happening, who is responsible? The
mm,
entire Ummah of South Africa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask us. So people ask me, Ismat, okay, you're not going to be successful with uniting the Ummah, collaboration.
mm,
So I tell him, my dear brothers and sisters, when I die and wake up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask me, what did I do? I said I did the Muslim Integrated Development Plan. I made the effort. What are you going to do?
mm,
How are you going to answer? That is a critical issue. So we need to create this awareness and we need to create this consciousness back of Islam of why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create us in South Africa, in our various areas, because we have a responsibility and a manner to promote al-Din al-Islam with our character, with our actions, but also to promote it, but also to uplift humanity and not force anybody to become Muslim.
mm,
And when we have services where Muslim organizations or even donors or anybody, that donation does not belong to that institution or that donor. It belongs to the ummah as it's given zakah, lillah, sadaqah, fitra, fidya, sadaqah, jari. It then becomes the responsibility of an entire ummah because you let go of ownership. And it becomes the responsibility of an entire ummah to then say, are we effective? Not only my donations, the entire ummah's donations.
mm,
Because it's like the Baitul Mal that doesn't exist, right? Which is there, but it may not be there in an institution. It's in various institutions or individuals. So we need to come together and say how best can we take the ummah forward? How can we strengthen Islamic work? And Islamic work does not confine ourselves to say, okay, it's dawah, madrasa, masjid. It's also welfare work. It's skills development. It's empowerment. It's water, it's sanitation, it's housing, it's all these issues that are affecting us in the community. How do we as a Muslim ummah engage with government together as an ummah? How do we engage with with the non-Muslim community? I'm not saying that we're going to confine ourselves only to Muslim, but once we create a strategy, we will look at how we engage with these various other institutions, the non-Muslim institutions, the secular, the civil society, secular institution, government, and come up with a plan of a common plan of an ummah. Now, like they asked in the question, welfare. Do welfare organizations assist people based on school of thought?
mm.
And these are the questions that come up, and we need to engage with each other. Because,
Inshallah.
also if we have an imam who refers somebody to a welfare organization, does that imam, do they engage back with the imam to say, what, this is what happened, we could help, we couldn't help? Or is the imam going to listen to the person, the beneficiary, the guest, the right holder? All these organizations got their own fancy terminology in what they use to the people who come to them. So do they engage? Are we an ummah? Are we taking salah in jama'ah out into the world where we're working together? That is the critical issue of the Muslim integrated development plan. Not an easy thing, very challenging, very difficult, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is great. We will continue to be patient, persevere, and make dua, and we will continue, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. No, most definitely, that's relevant points that you've thrown out, and I believe everyone is thinking on the same point, inshallah. So I just wanted us to take a quick break, inshallah. Then when we return, we'll go deeper into the agenda of the meeting itself, inshallah ta'ala.
Searching for elite local and international investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm? Look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors, as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698. Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayer.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayer, where every detail matters.
Send food and send kindness to those who have lost their homes and have been plunged into poverty. For those who are a meal away from starvation, a food parcel means an entire family can eat this Ramadan. That's the power of food. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, and welcome back. So if you're only joining us now, we're speaking to Mr. Ismat Mahomed, who is the coordinator of Muslim Integrated Development Plan, and speaking about the 7th MIDP Council meeting, which is to take place on the 17th of August at the Al-Ansar Hall in Overport, and this will be from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Now, Uncle Ismat, I wanted us, inshallah, to just take a look at a few points from the agenda itself. And you have already addressed most of them, especially in terms of the welfare projects and services. And now even the one on dawah and assisting Muslims. Now, if you can go into the referral systems, you did touch up a bit on it in terms of if someone comes and asks for assistance, they have to be referred by the imam, etc. But what else is in here that we can also look at in terms of the challenges that community workers experience with the referral system, etc.? Now, if you can just take us through that a bit more for us to understand, inshallah.
So firstly, Muslim organizations maybe sometimes we find that they're reluctant to get the referral. They may take part of the referral, but they may do their double checks, and some of them are not very confident with the referrals. And we have to find out and sit down and what's your challenge with the referrals. I mean, I experienced many years ago when I worked with an organization, an imam referred a child and said this child is an orphaned and vulnerable child, orphan child. And I went to the home. It was here in Durban, and I said, okay. And when I come out, I see a man over there. He's from Malawi. I mean, the mother was Zulu-speaking Muslim, and this man was a Malawian outside. And they told me, no, that's a visitor. I said, okay. The child was about 14 years old, or 15, sorry. So when I went back, and we started taking down the information, and we said we'll put them onto a orphans program. So this was during the week, and about 2 weeks later, on a Saturday, I went there to go and give a hamper, the first assistance. When I got there, what happened was the man was there again, and I found it strange, but okay. Then I asked the youngster, the 15-year-old youngster, because initially I didn't engage with him. I engaged with the mother and the imam who referred the case and the community workers on the ground. So the youngster tells me that man who's outside is his father.
Subhanallah.
So I had to ask the question: can a child be born at 15? Can you give birth to a child at 15 years old? Because you're saying it's an orphan child, no parents, no father. And I mean, in this case, they said no father. So sometimes what happens is we found that community workers are sometimes held to ransom by the communities. Okay? But on the other hand, some of them do send valid cases to organizations, and then they turn around and they say, you know what, these people are not getting help. And when the beneficiary goes back to the community worker, they tell the community worker that this person did this to me and that to me and whatever. But what we were doing as MIDP, we were engaging with donors and other community workers, and we were telling them, okay, refer the case to us and let's speak to the organizations. And when we go back to the organization, they said, no, we are waiting for the ID, we're waiting for the legal documents, we're waiting for the banking documents, everything. The person is not coming back. They refuse to give us any information. So there is a problem with information because the community worker on the ground is not sure what the decision that has been made. But on the other hand, sometimes people help people, but they don't realize that they can only help with this one aspect, welfare. What about the aspect about the Islamic development? If you're dealing with welfare, let somebody deal with Islamic development. Let somebody deal with development itself. Let's have a combination of an ummah of specialists who come together to uplift that community or the fellow Muslim beneficiary who came to them, and that is critical.
Subhanallah. And I believe also that many organizations are going through the same issues and problems. And again, as you mentioned, that the meeting is about raising these issues and finding solutions for them. And I believe that many other organizations should take part in it so that they can also, inshallah, find a way forward of how to deal with such discrepancies that you might find in certain people that you are assisting, etc., or just all in working and collaborating. And another one I saw here was regarding the collaboration with the community workers, as of which you touched on. But in terms of that, again, does it come back to the question of, in terms of, you spoke about assistance, if it goes only to the Muslims or not? And in terms of collaboration, is there an outline of saying, no, we only work with Muslim or organizations, or do you sometimes include non-Muslim organizations or certain platforms that can assist with any other way?
We first initially look at the Muslim Ummah coming together. And then part of the long-term strategy is then how do we engage with the rest of the community, which is civil society, either secular NGOs or even other religious NGOs. So it doesn't confine, and the assistant is not confined. When you say what is the role of Muslims, it's the role of Muslims to humanity, not only to Muslims. And that is very critical. And then also government itself. So this takes it in a stage form. This is the first stage. And then you go to the other stages of other stakeholders. Because if you go to everybody one time, it's going to be very difficult and very challenging.
100%. No, 100%.
And we are hoping that because we all believe in the kalima ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, that gives us a common and a strong base to come together. Again, also this whole initiative is within the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or the broad context of the word Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because the people who have participated over a period of time have warned that it shouldn't be anybody beyond that. So we have confined this to the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This specific meeting is for community. This specific meeting in Durban is specifically for community workers, for Muslim organization trustees and management of the organization and their staff, and volunteers and donors. It is not for the beneficiary community. It's for the stakeholders that are involved in the whole process. That is very critical, because it's like we'll have to warn people: do not come in, bring a specific welfare case and say, "I want an answer from this organ." We're not going to give you that platform, because we're confined to confidentiality. Right? But also that's going to be humongous. I mean, if we allow hundreds of thousands of queries, that's not our intention. But however, what we would like to is, after this, if there are issues, then we can relate it back to the organization to get accountability and create a partnership between the various stakeholders.
Subhanallah. No, Jazakumullah khaira once again, Uncle Ismat. And just to reiterate the details for those who will be interested, is that the meeting itself will take place on the 17th of August at the Al Ansar Hall, which is in Overport, between 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And RSVP is to close on the 14th of August. And for more information, you can contact we have the email on the screen and the number. So it's info@huda int.org, or cell phone number on you can call on 071-419-6186. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a very successful program so that we can see a way forward for all the organizations which will be taking part and stakeholders, inshallah ta'ala. And most importantly, jazakallah to Uncle Ismat, Mohammed, and the MIDP for putting this in place, inshallah, so that things can become easier for us as we move on. Jazakumullah khairah once again, and really appreciate having you on the show.
Jazakallah to you, Jazakallah to your management, to your team from Salam Media. And you see, this is also part of the MIDP. We're partnering and we're creating the awareness, and this is how we want to continue, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, and may Allah Ta'ala grant His richest mercy, blessings, and forgiveness. And may Allah Ta'ala be pleased with you and your family and all the listeners and all the members of Salam Media and the entire Ummah, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, even the marhooms, those that are living and those that are to come. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. So that brings us to the end of our first segment. So let's take a quick break. And when we return, we're just giving a short, in terms of a summary of that first segment. And again, we'll be having, actually on the 10th, 11th, there will be, and 10th rather, to be the International Dawah Day. So I'll be giving information more on that as well, inshallah. So let's take a break. And when we return, we'll be carrying on, inshallah.